And we are live for yet another live session with all you awesome people. Thank you so much for joining us today. Amir, thank you so much for coming on this live today. Really
Appreciate it having
excited.
me. I am. Let's get this party started.
Yeah, let's talk about what's happening in the marketplace right now. First and foremost, I gotta say, like, hey, check out our new background. I really like it. Do you like it too?
It's a roller coaster like the the current marketplace that we have. Beautiful. But we are
Yeah,
represented in both cities now. That's the correct representation. And yeah, I like it. I like
awesome.
it. Yeah.
Good, good. So today, as you mentioned, the marketplace is ever so changing. The weather seems to be changing here as well in Ottawa. But I wanted to, yeah, share what's happening. What's happening in Toronto right now? What's happening in the marketplace for you, for us?
So, where would you like to start? Because when I said a roller coaster, I wasn't joking. The past couple of years, we've had a lot of up and downs,
Yeah.
but it's dynamic, it's interesting, it's exciting, right? But we've seen a slight increase in terms of inventory, right? So that's giving the buyers a little bit more options.
Hmm.
However, as the dips are happening, we can see prices are, moderately, slowly, comparing it obviously to before, to a couple of years, they have peaked a little. So this is a perfect time for the buyers to come in for particular areas that they're looking for, and so yeah, make a purchase. Is that the same thing that's happening in Ottawa, or is that slightly different?
Yeah, so what we're seeing is that definitely more inventories coming into the marketplace. We are seeing more choices for buyers. Not enough, okay? There are still buyers that have specific needs. And, what I'm finding is that some sellers are just hesitant to come into the marketplace because they're afraid that their property is going to sit in the market for a long time and stay stale, something that a lot of home sellers don't want. And truthfully, as agents, as your future agents or current agents, we don't want that for you. So certainly we don't want to have that whole situation happening when it comes to putting your home in the marketplace. But market is definitely moving. I think I was having this conversation. It's funny you say, because I was having this conversation with a home seller, somebody who is a prospect who's looking to get into the marketplace. And they're asking, hey, Anna, so like, how is the marketplace? What's going on? And I told them, I said, it's actually pretty good. 2023, I'd say July and August was when we had hit our absolute like bottom. Nothing was moving. Buyers didn't want to go out, see any homes, and sellers were just sitting, waiting for showings to take place. Um, Thankfully, that has changed. And that has changed, I think, even more because Bank of Canada is now going in the right direction. So yeah. So let's just cross our fingers that they continue doing that. I remember last week, Eva and I were having this live, and we did a live, prediction of what's going to happen this week. And I mentioned that we're going to have a drop of 0.25. So you guys, you can fact check, you can go back last week. And it's just of course it's a bit of a luck, right? I don't have any kind of glass balls or anything to look through, but definitely, Bank of Canada is on the right track. Yeah. So
I have
hopefully
a glass
that'll
ball, so I can guess.
you ordered yours on
Yeah, mine is
Amazon there?
yes, yeah. But no, I do you think this? trend of positive direction that you just mentioned. Is it going to continue? Is it going to plateau? Do you have any predictions or any ideas within that?
Yeah, so it's actually super, super encouraging. For me, I think that the market is going to get moving. Like honestly, yesterday, as you saw, we got a lot of calls coming through with both buyers and sellers feeling encouraged to come into the marketplace. We have several, I was just making a list. We have several sellers that are preparing their home to get into the marketplace. In fact, today alone, we have a few different appointments lined up with sellers that we're meeting to get them going, get it prepared. You know, a lot of the times, I know we keep talking about this, but like putting that extra, we call sweat equity in the property will allow your home to land nicely and get absorbed quickly without any hassle. So that's what we're working on there, right?
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that there is a strong demand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reflecting a strong,
Building up for sure. Yeah.
right? So yeah, I actually predict as BOC had the past 10 consecutive increases in order to get to the 5%. I predict not 10, it's not going to take 10, but it's definitely going to take less than 10 to get to where we were. So I
Mm-hmm.
see an upward trends in the market 100%. I see activity. It's happening. It's kind of like a boiling in action, and buyers that have been, waiting for a very long time. I know that they were struggling, because they had limited options, but now
Yeah.
that the options are expanding and they're able to negotiate better. I think, as you have mentioned, the same market is gonna go back to where it was maybe 2020, prior to the COVID, because we're gonna set up. And I think with the way how our economy and everything is set, we're going in the right direction. So fingers crossed, keep on praying, and let's go in the same direction.
Absolutely. Listen, before we get more into it, I want to also acknowledge all the awesome people that we're seeing coming on and joining us on different platforms. So I want to say thank you so much for your support. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't because of you. I also want to encourage any of you to bring on your live questions onto the chat, and we're going to see it here, and Amir and I will do our best to be able to guide you through this crazy market. And the other thing I want to say is that, don't be shy. There's no wrong question. Let us know in the chat where you're coming from, because I know I say it at every single sitting that we have, but it's important for us to know where our audience is coming from to be able to help you better and bring you content that is actually going to bring value to you, right? So the other conversation I had with various people, but the same conversation I was having with that seller is that, oh, Anna, like, how's it going? They made a lot of different transactions with us in the past, right? And so they were saying like, okay, so how's the marketplace? And of course, they see the benefit of working with an agent, especially with agents that know the marketplace, right?
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that we're going to definitely talk about is what are the benefits of working with a real estate professional in this segment. And of course, we're going to share some fun stuff along the way and hopefully add value that way to you. Now, if you are looking to get into real estate, I gotta say, back in 2020, And 2021, we've had a lot of people that went and got the real estate licenses quickly because they saw this gold rush in real estate and they were doing it part-time, and they were like, you know what, as soon as I can just put up a sign, I can like, go for it. But like, it takes a lot more than just putting up a sign or bringing up a buyer to a property, right, Amir? And so we're certainly that, because of what's happened 2023, a lot of those guys have left, and guys and gals, right? I'm not discriminating at all, but they have left the marketplace. If you did love the industry and wanted to stay and wanted to be successful, I definitely encourage you to reach out to us, to any of these awesome numbers, and we are happy to help you out. Now, Amir, what were you gonna say? I saw you got like excited.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was just thinking about what you were just saying, and it just, yeah, I had a funny memory, but I'm not going to share it at the moment. But yeah, it was something funny.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
no, yeah. No, I
You
was just
gotta
thinking
share.
when you were talking about the sellers in the past and how they're coming up, and how being an agent and all that. I just thought about what you were just saying. If you're interested in working in the field, you have to love it. We
Mm-hmm.
were talking about sellers. People were interested in selling their home. People were interested in buying houses. So this is the business that we in. And the other day, I was talking to someone for over 3.5 hours, and I did not notice it was 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I realized that it's dark outside. You know what I mean? And so you gotta love what you do, and you gotta want to do it. So that's the passion. But yeah, if anyone is interested, either in Toronto or in Ottawa, both are open. Please reach out to us, and we'll see what we can do. If you are new, or if your experience does not matter, there's no discrimination. We're looking for positive individuals, so please reach out. And maybe your picture will be added on this side or on this side. We don't know. Yeah,
Love it. Love
yeah.
it. Hey, we have more people that don't, they are getting their pictures ready to be added here. So the more
Sure.
the merrier, you guys,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, the more people that can share their ways and like, add value, we're all about that. We're going to be able to add more value to you if you're a consumer, and or if you're looking to join a robust real estate organization, because then you can rely on each other's experiences and things like that. Yeah.
Let's do a 180 now. Put the focus back into okay. So what does it mean when I'm working with a real estate agent? It's the big $1 million questions. Well, we are not just people with access to a lockbox and opening the doors, even though there are some that just exactly do that.
Yeah.
But we're not those. I can assure you that. If you don't believe me, book an appointment. We'll have a Zoom call or in-person chit chat, and we'll see how that goes. And yeah. But speaking of that, Anna, what do you think when you're working with someone? How do you feel about, you're helping with their one of the most top 10, if you will, most important questions. And question is, how can I buy or how can I sell?
Mm-hmm.
From both perspectives. How do you feel as an agent? What is your job? What is it that you want to do for these individuals?
Yeah, I love that because um you're absolutely right. I think it is one of the biggest important decisions that you're going to make in your life, in your family life, right? Or in future family life, right? Because it's the biggest investment after, marriage. However, I think that when it comes to someone coming to us looking to buy or sell, the most important thing for us is to know exactly why you're doing it. A lot of the times, so let's talk about sellers first, and then we'll jump over to buyers. So, like for sellers, when we have that initial conversation, I get it, guys. Like for sellers out there, I get it. I was in your shoes, and you're like, no, I don't want to tell the real estate agent who's a salesperson what my real intentions are. And to your point, in some ways, you're absolutely correct, because some of you guys go out there and interview a bunch of agents, and you get to select one. That means all the other ones that you don't hire end up being actually people that are possibly going to be representing buyers, so your opponent in this negotiation, right? So I think that it's really important, once you select who your real estate agent is, to really share what your intentions are. Why are you doing what you're doing? And, a lot of the times people are like, well, I don't want to share because it's personal. Well, with every real estate transaction, there's definitely something, like there's a personal reason why this is happening, right? I mean, otherwise people aren't moving. And it always makes me laugh when, buyer agents ask, me on the listing side, why are they moving? Right? Or buyers are asking that. It really doesn't matter why the seller is moving. At the end of the day, why are they moving? Let me just tell you the reasons why people want to sell their home. There is some kind of change in their life. So whether it is, right, Amir, it's like whether they just got married, or they're getting divorced, they got a child, there was some kind of like a movement in the family, somebody left the household, like children, they're empty nesters, someone has passed away, somebody's born. So those are the reasons, and work related. So that's the reason why people move. That's really all there is. And doesn't matter if they are needing to move because of even financials, they still want to get the most amount of money. People that are about to lose their home as a result of distress, like the only reason they're in distress is because of financials, you guys. So that means that they're trying to get as much money out of the house as possible. When it has to do with divorce, same deal. The only reason they are selling is like they would still want to get the most amount of money out of their home. As a buyer, it's the wrong mentality for you to think, oh, I'll be able to get a deal. No, you can get a deal if you work with a proper real estate professional that knows exactly which buttons to push in order for you to get the best number, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to add something to that, Amir?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say number one thing, or the first thing that you should do when you're talking to or prospecting all the agents, it's the same thing as when you're choosing your doctor, you're choosing your dentist, you're choosing your accountant. You have to make sure that they are the right person for the right job. Look,
Mm.
I am an individual. I do wear a tie sometimes. Sometimes I wear a t-shirt. Sometimes I wear a tank top. It's the same thing. However, I am dressed appropriately each time for the
Mm.
job. So that's the first. Second is we as agents and the buyers and the sellers as individuals have to communicate with each other. So understanding each other's roles in the whole process, purchasing or selling a home, it's essential, right?
Mhm.
Now, with that comes a list of questions from the individuals towards us, which is absolutely fine. Actually, I appreciate that. How many times have we gone into listing presentations with the sellers and we've had people before us? Many, many times, right?
Mhm.
So that's one of them. But understanding the potential benefits that they get, but having a professional representing them, it's very key. We're not just going to be opening up the doors and showing you the house or the apartment. We should be able to do a little bit more than that. Now, with that comes responsibility. And each agent is different. Each of us operate differently. in each category, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, just like with every other profession, right? Like you have a doctor that knows what they're doing because of the experiences that they've had. And you have a doctor that has no clue and is like, okay, let's do more tests and more tests and more tests and so on and so forth. So, at every single work that's out there, you can see who you can select. And as a consumer, that's your right. Your right to choose who you want to work with, who you think is the best fit. Now, one thing I gotta say is that I know that we really appreciate that if, let's say, you end up hiring somebody else, and I'm gonna say we appreciate, and I would say it's the same thing for other agents. Like, we appreciate when you say, hey, you know what? You didn't get the job. We end up going with X, Y, and Z. Okay. Instead of just like not answering, just let us know. That is totally okay to
I
let us
agree.
know we are not your people. That's okay. You know what? We don't have to work with everybody. There is like 1,000 transactions that's done in the Ottawa real estate market every single month. And there's 10,000 transactions per month that's done in on TREP, the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. So, honest to goodness, the first thing is be honest, let us know what is it that you're trying to achieve once you select, that you're working with us. So as a buyer, you want to tell us what is your intention. Look, I'm purchasing this because I want to get into the real estate investment game. Or I'm purchasing this with an intention of not losing my money because in the bank, I'm not gaining as much. And I want to maybe park it through real estate. And then eventually, once I actually want to get into something bigger, then getting rid of this and purchasing something else. Know why you're getting into this whole transaction. Or like, I am selling this because I purchased another property, or I'm moving out of the country, or what have you. Okay. Tell us what it is that you want to do. Not because, look, if you're working with an agent, the agent really shouldn't be sharing any of this information with anybody because what you say is absolutely confidential anyway. We have rules and regulations that actually protect you as a consumer. So whatever
Yes.
you say is absolutely confidential. Make sure that you tell us exactly what it is you're wanting to do. Why is it that you're doing it? And then after that, we're here to help you bridge that gap. Okay. So if like between where you are, which is point A to point B, we'll tell you what's the best way for you to be able to bridge this gap. And
Yeah.
that's really, I think, the most important, like keeping it honest. And you know what? You have every right to choose which agent you want to work with, which team you want to work with. It's important. And once you did select, do everybody a favor and let everybody know that, hey, you know what? Sorry, I decided to work with somebody else. And that's it. So, but once you commit, really commit, okay? I know like some buyers out there, for some reason, there's always like this misunderstanding, I should say, quote, or misunderstanding, or maybe like it's not being communicated enough in our industry by real estate professionals that, listen, if you want to work with an agent, you love them, stick to them. Stick to them. They're going to help you. I think you need to connect with that agent. Don't go, calling all these different agents. Oh, I didn't want to bother you. Like, how many times we have this conversation like before? Oh, you know what? I didn't want to bother you, Amir, so I just went ahead and called the name on the signage or what have you. Now, it doesn't happen to us often anymore, but it used to. Like in your past life, I'm sure they used to do that all the time, where they're like, yeah, I didn't want to bother you, so I just end up talking to this agent I met at an open house. Like, what? That's what we do. That's what we're here for. You told us why you're moving. We're here to get you from that point A to point B. So don't get other people involved, because when you share this information with other agents, you're making it so much harder for us to negotiate, right?
Fortunately, yeah, as you said, staying calm and professional is the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
every agent, Amir, is different, right? I mean, like, for me, like when I like work with someone, you know, I treat them like my best friend. We are out there, we are looking, we are having fun. I try to make this as fun as possible because as is, real estate is super, it can get annoying, it can get stressful. So why add an extra layer of stress when we can actually have fun, get you the property, get you a good price, get you in that home, make it fun, make it a game, make it fun. Hey, by the way, I see Florida, Florida guy says hello. Hi. But listen, guys, if you have more questions or comments with regards to this matter, definitely bring it up. But let's talk about negotiations. So I talked about like negotiations, it's important that you share the information just with your real estate agent and don't go telling everybody. How many times, like, oh my gosh, I remember my very first deal, Amir. I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm negotiating for the first time. And I was so excited. My buyer, she liked this property. You know the feeling, right? Like the very first deal you're putting together. And you're like, yes, I know, I'm finally a professional. Anyways, so I was putting this deal together and the buyer's like, yeah, I like this property. I was like, okay, let's go. And then she goes, well, here's the thing. I know actually the seller and I, we go to the same church and we talked about it and they want this price. So they came up with a price behind my back. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh. So I look up the prices, the comparables of what has sold in the area like it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're going to be overpaying for this property. This is like more than 10 years ago. Okay. So I was like, okay, like that completely ruined our negotiations. So I called the agent. I said, hey, listen, this buyer of mine likes this property and wants to put an offer. Great, great. But this is a price we're coming at. And he's like, no, they already had a conversation and this is a price. So it was like there was a $25,000 gap between the price, right? Of what we should have paid for and what she negotiated at church. Like, don't do that. Don't tell anybody about the price that you're willing to pay. So make sure the only person that knows about it is your agent, right? I know some people don't even tell their agents. Some people surprise us. But at the very most, like aside from your family, which is like people that are going to be living in the house, not even your brother, sister, or whatever, because your brother, sister have a friend, have a neighbor, that it's so easy. Like how many times these connections are made, right? Brother told a neighbor, neighbor told the friend who happens to be the brother of the owner of the property we're negotiating. So like never say anything about the price. My gosh, right?
I can't imagine. I can't imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, when we are working with sellers or buyers, that transparency and that friendship that you talked about, it's
Mm.
there. There is a commitment from both ends, right? That we are willing to compromise. It goes for both. And I see that all the time from my end. And I tell our people that this is the way we work. And it's a win-win situation for both, right? So, identifying the areas that you need to be flexible and you need to do that, right? So those are very, very key. But you also have to justify that. You can just have an expectation that this is going to happen. You know what I mean? And so, um, for the professional work that you're getting, you're going to be getting some, good, work and
Insights.
yeah, from us. So
Yeah.
that is
Absolutely. Absolutely. So like don't make it hard for us to negotiate. And negotiations is, I think, something that I would say all of us in the team are super, super passionate about. In fact, sometimes we negotiate against each other. And I love it because it's like, when it's all said and done, and it's all firm and everything's good to go, like closing has happened, it's nice to know sometimes that hey, you know what? The buyer was willing to go this much, and you guys basically folded, or vice versa. And it's really awesome to see and keep score. We keep like a back score as to who really was able to shine with their negotiation skills. I know that's something that we really that's like our team thing, and we're really proud about that. But ultimately, it's important to allow your agent to negotiate. Now, I forgot to say that even with that first deal of mine, I was so excited because I was still able to bring down the price by another 15,000. And the buyer was like, "How did you do that, Anna?" Now, the not so happy moment was, so back in the day, it was all done, like negotiations were done through the phone, like no counter offers needed to be signed back and forth. Nowadays, everybody needs to have it in writing, although that's the most proper way because of exactly what happened to me. So we negotiated back and forth, $15,000 off. She was a first time home buyer. We go into the property. I tell her, okay, I'm going to come to your condominium lobby to get it all signed up. I was all prepared. And she messaged me. She goes, "Anna, don't come. I don't want to buy this home." After all of that. So I was like, oh my gosh, what? And I never heard back from her ever again. And it's very normal as well, which is what we call, I could say in your face, what we call what is that called? Cold feet, buyer cold feet, or buyer remorse, I should say. Yeah. So it does happen. But my gosh, if she purchased that property, she would have made $500,000 at this point on that property, minimum. Yeah, it's crazy. And in fact, it's such a desirable area that we have buyers looking in that area. It's so funny. Anyways, back to you, Amir. So that's my negotiations that's my negotiations thing. Like, you want a professional guys to have, right?
I just feel bad because I always say to people, so I'm just going to say it out loud here as well too. You know the expression that our parents have taught us, hey, sleep on it. It's
Mm.
okay. Think we get back to you tomorrow, that sort of thing. Well, I'm here tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. Yeah, it's the willingness from the you that you need to come forward or not.
Mhm.
So that hesitation is the delay factor. And that delay factor ends up hurting the buyers and sellers because they haven't pulled the trigger. If they're ready, I have worked with people that had done this in 2 hour time. Finances were all scored away every 2 hours. It took 2 hours. That's my fastest.
Yeah.
And I have people that are still looking 6 months, I believe. And it's okay. We can't say anything because everybody's search is different, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
But time is of the essence, a lot of the times when it comes to things like this. And it's funny you say that because I remember there was a situation, and part of the reason why we share these stories is hopefully you can identify something like this with your own transaction. If you're an agent, you can see, hey, you know what, I see this happening, and it's definitely something that I can look out for. If you're a brand new agent, you know, you look at these and hopefully, again, it's going to add value. So just, I would say, I can't say timeline, but there was a buyer. I'm trying to stay as confidential as possible here. So there was a buyer of ours, okay, that they got a crazy deal. So it was a bank, it was a bank foreclosure or power sale, actually. It was a power sale. So the way power sale works is that the bank takes it over. They're able to sell it. And then whatever they take their money out, and then whatever is extra, that's what they will give to the buyers or to the owners. But usually there isn't much extra, just FYI, depending on the lenders you work with, et cetera, which we can help you with after as well. Hi, Kristen. So anyways, so there was a power sale that happened and they got a crazy deal. And why do I say crazy deal? Because we put an offer and then they countered the offer back, right? And this offer came at, like, let's say 15,000 under asking, which the price was already amazing. And I was like, guys, take it. It's amazing. Like, go for it. And then because power sale, as you know, needs a lot of work, right? Power sale properties need a lot of work. And they need they need renos and things like that. So here we were. The husband was like, no, it needs work. I don't want it, blah, blah, blah. They were questioning like whether they should accept it or counter it. And I was like, guys, like, it's a crazy deal. Like, this property will sell over asking. Just accept it. Meanwhile, I'm getting calls from the listing agent. Hey, what's going on? Are we getting it back? What's happening? Are you guys accepting? Are you guys accepting? And I knew that he's getting a ton of showings on this property. In fact, he has backup offers lined up. And of course, what did they do? Anna, let's counter back. They counter back $25,000 under. And I said, oh my gosh, guys, like, just accept 15,000 under. And guess what happened? By the time we counter back, suddenly we went into multiple offers with 5 other offers, and it sold, I believe, 35 to 50,000 over asking. Like, they would have made instantaneous money if they accepted that offer and just like put it back into the market. But anyways, things like this happen. And that's the reason why, guys, time is of the essence. Like, don't sleep on it. Don't overthink it. It's very normal for buyers to have, you know, buyer's remorse. It happens all the time. But that's the reason why you need to work with someone you trust. And then they can say, hey, you know what? I know you're like in it and you can't focus. You've got the blinders on, but let's just like focus on this and get this done because we can put it back in the market and make you money right away. Right.
Yeah,
So
totally.
trust your agent. Trust your agent. I think it's like the most important thing is making sure you choose the right person when it comes to, you know, getting somebody to help you out. So let's talk about like offers, because I think a lot of people don't understand how the offer system works. So we understand like, hey, you know what, we've seen properties or we're putting the home in the market, and like how does it work, these offers? Let's talk about that a little bit. So obviously we talked about like different negotiation techniques that we do utilize, but which we can get into more a little bit. But let's talk about offers. When offers are coming in, you know, how do we look at these different, how do we first of all prepare the offer? You know, whenever we're looking at, like, let's say a buyer is like, yeah, you know what, Amir, I like this property. What do? We just
I
say,
like
hey,
to
what
do a
number?
little, no, no, no. I do a little verse. I remember this. It's called Bidi Bada Bada Boo Boo. It's from the I can't remember. Was it
Cinderella?
Cinderella? Yeah. Ba bada be bada boo. Boom. And then the offer just comes up. Magically it appears. Yeah. No. it obviously being prepared to write the offer, having experience, and so on and so forth. I'm just going to skip all the good stuff there. But the main important part of that is understanding what's the whole point of the offer, and how is it going to get value? Am I on the selling side? Then the offer that I'm going to be getting needs to be, clean or the way I liked it. But if I'm on the buying side, I have to adhere to that as well too. So identifying the area is also key, right? But
Let's talk about clean offer. What does it mean, a clean offer?
okay, so when we are evaluating an offer, it's just everybody's, I think, presumptions is a highest value, highest offer is the cleanest offer, is the best. No,
Mhm.
guys, it isn't. It might be
Yeah,
shocking, but it isn't. I've
yeah,
had situations where we walked away from the situation. Let's consider the terms of the
yeah.
offer first before you look at just the price, because there are lots of other factors.
Mm-hmm.
Agree?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I would say a clean offer for me is maybe an offer that's a little bit lower than what I just talked about, but it has fewer contingencies, which I know I'm more likely to fall through versus something with a lot of contingencies, a lot of moving parts,
Yeah.
uncertainties, like you just basically walked us through. So that's a clear example of not being able to make a decision that hindered the whole transaction,
Mm,
right? And that is, to justify your position, you were doing right. They were the decision makers. So again, everybody has to understand we are not the decision makers here. We're just portraying a message from the seller to the buyer.
yeah.
And
So, like, for instance, like the offer in terms of terms, let's just go really into details in terms of, let's say, we have somebody here right now watching. They're like, you know what? I want to put an offer through. What do I need? Like, what are the different things I need to tell my agent to put in? And so, like, obviously, like, we have the offer price, right? The price is just one piece of many different things, right? So let's talk about that. It's the price. What else?
you have to be know when are you going to close the house?
Mhm.
When
Yeah,
are
so
you going?
closing date. Yeah.
That is a must. So you have to know, okay, I'm going to put an offer today, but say in 2 months, time,
Hmm.
3 months time. You also have to know your mortgage, your financing.
Hmm.
You have to know how much that works. Well, you need to put a deposit for that. You need to put a deposit for this offer as well, too. So there's two ways that you need to consider that. So these are the two other factors. There are other situations as per each case. However, the conditions that we're talking about here are custom. It could be a lawyer, it could be inspection, etc., etc. So these are some of the ones that I'm used to dealing with on the residential side. Obviously, on the commercial side, it's a little bit more of a due diligence. And I'm giving myself the thumbs up, so it's all good. I don't know how to take it off now. There we go. My hands goes down, but it's gonna be. There we go. And yeah, that's it. But let's talk about let's presume a particular case. Okay,
Yeah.
I am selling my house in Orleans in Ottawa, and it's
Uh-huh.
a 4 bedroom or 3 4 bedrooms. We're going for a market average, a market price, and we've got just an offer. Offer has a condition in it. Okay, so you can now come up with the condition, and we can evaluate it right now based on the situation, right? So that way. Asking price, it's very close to the asking price, so we're good. But our closing day is off. We
Yeah.
want September, the person wants November. So how do
And
we?
that could be a big deal, guys. As much as you think it's not, it really is because it could mean like somebody's gonna be like homeless, right? Not really homeless. Like how many people we've had. I mean, I've had so many people say, "Hey Anna, can I like put up a tent in your backyard or something like that, or move into your basement for a while?" But yeah, it's a big deal. Closing date's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one. Now let's talk about the other conditions. Financing. Okay.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Oh no, actually, let's hold on to financing. Let me focus on another one, which is inspection. I've had
Yep.
this situation where the seller that I was presenting
Mm-hmm.
had disclosed earlier of some repairs that they have done. Well, guess what? Some of the repairs were not done professionally, so through the inspection, they were found, and we had to present that. And we were able to close because they were remedied with the inspections, I mean, afterwards. So, how would you say when someone's conditions are not good? You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're not happy with conditions. How do you go about that? Because now we are evaluating the offer as well as negotiating, correct?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't really, move away from the inspection. So how would you go on that?
So they want the inspection, but everything else is movable. Is that what it is?
Correct. Inspection
Okay.
is they have questions.
Okay. So when it comes to inspection, this is an opportunity for you to protect yourself. Like conditions by, I would say, definition is for buyers to protect themselves, right? So obviously your agents will be, again, you have to be transparent, what's important for you, what's not, right? Some I would say some buyers even say to their agents, like, listen, I don't want to live in a house where somebody has passed. We recently had this conversation with somebody, right? So be very transparent and open exactly what it is. Don't keep it to yourself, you guys. You're about to purchase something really big. Make sure you tell your agent exactly what it is you're looking for in a home. Now, when it comes to those conditions, if everything else is movable except for inspection, so for instance, let's say, are you asking me like there's something wrong with the inspection? Is that what you're
Yeah,
asking?
there were some
There were
questionable
some red flags there.
red flags. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to say first and foremost, inspections, home inspections, because there are different types of inspections too, right? There's home inspection, there is the well and septic inspection as well. So there's different types of inspections. But let's say we're talking specifically for a general home inspection and there are red flags. General home inspection, you guys, are just built for you to identify the big items like structural issues, right? Like that's the main important thing. Inspections are not built for, oh my gosh, you need to redo the caulking here or grout or whatnot. Now, if the caulking or the grout is creating something with the house, then yes, it does need to be identified. Like for instance, it's creating leak, that is potentially going to end up with the certain area be, have mold and whatnot, right? Rot. Like these are the things that obviously they're big, right? But if it's just like for cosmetic purposes, then no, like it's fine. So the main things are, I would say, roof, it's your foundation, and the big ticket items like your furnace, your AC, plumbing, electrical. Those are the things that I think are the main important things. Now, if you did identify that it was those things, let's say it's the roof, right? The other important thing is, well, you have three options when that happens. Either you walk away from the property, say, nope, don't want this home, out we go, and we take our deposit back, right? And by the way, that was another item I think we didn't mention. So when you're preparing an offer, you need to know closing date. Oh no, you did mention it, deposit. So you'll be able to take the deposit back, right? And then the next thing is, so you just say no to the offer and just walk away from that house. Or the second thing you could do is you could actually renegotiate the price or renegotiate the terms. So, for instance, if there's something wrong with the property, right, that can be fixed, maybe the seller is willing to fix it themselves. Or maybe, just maybe, the inspector wasn't able to identify it correctly, right? I've been in situations where the AC wasn't working according to the inspector. But guess what? The AC was working. There was just like a switch with it that would just not turn on after a certain temperature, right? So there's sensors in AC sometimes that they just won't turn on. So you can't really test ACs during winter time. And I was saying this to the inspector, and the inspector's like, okay, well, no, really, that's the case. So so maybe the seller's willing to deal with it themselves, fix it themselves at their own cost, or there's really no issue. So whenever you see any kind of red flag in your inspection, that just means for you that you need to find out what's wrong with it. Maybe there really isn't anything wrong with it, right? So always don't jump the gun and be like, oh my gosh, this house is falling apart. There is no perfect house. Have you seen a perfect home? Brand new home and all. Have you seen like a home where it didn't have had like no issues in a home inspection? Honestly, Amir, have you?
I'm staying silent because I haven't.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I just no, but
Yeah.
you're right.
I
With the AC thing particular, I had a similar situation 2 months ago.
yeah.
Inspector, I love our my friend. If you're watching, we were laughing about it after. So the switch could not be turned off. So we couldn't really test it on that day. But a couple hours later, once I had a lengthy discussion with the selling agent, we were able to diagnose the issue and remedy it right there on the spot. So
Yeah.
don't think that that red flag is a red flag. Red flag? No, that red flag is just an indicator so that you know what to watch out for
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
current time and move it down.
And
So
I would say like inspection reports are not written in stone at all. At all. It's just for you to know your home. Because look, we talked about this so many different times. It's like such a topic. But like at the end of the day, it's for you to know your home. Homeowners don't inspect their homes every single day, or every single year even. They only like go fix issues when the issues arise, because we have other things we do in our lives than dealing with real estate, except for us, because that is what we do professionally. But yeah, so bottom line is, yeah, so that's your second option. Try to remedy it. Okay. Have it remedied. And then the third option is to say, hey, you know what? I don't trust how you're going to remedy it. I'm going to do it myself as a home buyer. And so I want a price reduction, So we go back, we identify how, and this is something you cannot do as a home buyer. Say, oh yeah, I think we have to get a discount of thousands and thousands of dollars for something that is worth maybe $100 to do, right? Like, don't think that now we opened up the pricing again. No, it has to make sense. All right. And another thing I want to say is to some buyers out there, maybe some buyers that we're dealing with, we're helping the sellers, but they're coming across like, guys, if it was already mentioned to you, let's say we don't know the age of the roof, right? Don't come back and say, well, we have to redo the roof. No kidding. We know that the roof needs to be done. In fact, we got you a quote. Fact, we have priced it accordingly based on that. Don't come back and say, well, the roof needs to be done, so now we're going to get a reduction of 7, 10, 15, 20, whatever, $1,000. No. If it was mentioned, then sorry, that is off the table in terms of negotiations, right? So
and why are you doing all this? Like, why are we going through all these hurdles, if you will, right? One step at a time, one step at a
yeah.
time. We're doing all that to get to the closing. Our job is to make sure that you are getting the house either purchasing it or getting it sold. Our job is to do a brokerage of you two, a union of you two, if you will.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we are trying to get to the close,
Matchmakers.
pretty much matchmakers of
Yeah.
houses that are in heavens. But yeah, just finalizing the whole thing is just we're trying to get to the
Yeah.
bottom, right? Which is the end point, which is the closing, right? And that is the main job of every real estate agent that's working, whether they're in Toronto, Ottawa, New York, Montreal, doesn't matter. It's the same thing, right? So that's I just want to add that because a lot of people forget that. Well, no, no, no. Your interest is at my heart. So I have that fiduciary right there at the top. But I
Yeah.
also have the clothesline, the finish line in mind, because I've done this a few times, if you will. Now,
Yeah.
if you're working with the agents that are not experienced, things can go
Sideways.
sideways extremely fast.
Yeah.
And that's where you know you have been taken for a ride instead of being given a ride
Hmm.
to, well,
Hmm.
you mentioned the whole process. The whole process should be if you're cooking, cooking, like we all know, I like to cook from time to time. When you're peeling the onions, you start crying. Well, I don't want you to be crying. You know what I mean? I want you to be smiling at the end of the process, even though it might be a happy cry. I've had that once or twice, but in general, it's everybody's happy. You're trying to get there. And basically, when you win, we have won already. All the hard work, all the hours of communicating, whether it's early mornings, late nights, middle of the day, doesn't matter because we know real estate doesn't sleep. And if you have a professional like us and the rest of the team over here that is working for you, you know you're working with someone that is professional versus someone who's not. I keep on giving myself the thumbs up. But yeah,
Everything
uh,
you just said was onions. When you're peeling the onions, you cry. It's so funny. I don't. I don't. And I make a lot of kebabs and I don't. And I realize why I don't. Like I'm the only one in the family that when I peel the
is
onion,
it
I
because your mouth
cry.
is running the whole time?
No, no, no. It's because, wow, are you saying something right
No, because you
now?
can chew a gum. The trick is to chew a gum.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, no. The trick is I wear contact lenses, right? Prescription
Protective
contact
lenses.
lenses. So it protects my eyes.
Oh, hey, I don't have. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know what? That's what you need. Put some
Or just
contact
chew a
lenses.
gum next time. Give it a try and let me know whether it's a yay or a nay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, there
that's
you go.
that's
You don't only get real estate tips, guys. You also get some like cooking tips from Amir. Next time, Amir is gonna tell us how to make a really good al dente pasta, right?
6 minutes or 11 minutes to my Italian friends. No more than that. Other than that, come talk to me. And we have Kubita sessions with Anna. Live Kubita sessions on the barbecue. So you guys are all invited. We missed the 4th of July, sorry, 1st of July, but we still got Labor Day coming up, so we can count on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so basically exactly what she said. Like, I mean, like we're here to, bring the two sides together. And these days, the seller's mindset is like here in terms of pricing, and the buyer's mindset is like here, maybe even lower than the screen in terms of pricing. And that's where the two agents need to bridge the gap, and that's realistically what it is that we do and try to make sure that you're able to get the house. But bottom line, I was having this conversation earlier with another agent. If the buyers don't see the value in the house and this or the sellers are just not motivated to sell, no matter how many comps you bring, like comparables, sorry, if you bring in comparables, oh, blah blah blah, house that looks exactly like it's sold at this price, like I'm sorry, you're not able to twist the arm of the seller and say, yeah, sure, here, I'm going to give it this price because blah 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 down there, my previous neighbor sold it for under asking or undervalue. They're just not. Everybody is moving from one point A to point B, and it needs to make sense for them to make that move. Otherwise, they're just not. They're just going to sit still. You're not going to get the house, and it just basically,
Win and lose situation.
yeah,
That's what it becomes.
yeah,
Unfortunately, sometimes people do think, but that's the whole different topic for a whole different session.
yeah.
I'm gonna thank you for doing another live show with me. I appreciate that. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. We didn't get any questions this time, so I'm happy because I was ready to get into some of them, but we didn't. So it's okay. Maybe next time some of you guys feel obligated to ask some questions
Yeah, maybe you're
directly.
shy. Maybe you're shy. But like honestly, this is what it's for, guys. This is for you guys to bring on your questions. We try to bring it to you as raw as possible. Of course, listen, for those of you that are watching and maybe you're saying like, "Oh, Anna doesn't speak English really well," or what have you, it's very different when you have a camera in front of you and know a bunch of people are watching you from different platforms. We try to be our best. We try to be as raw. We try to be,
We're
bringing
not actors. That's what she thinks. We're people. So, like, I'm not acting here. This is how I am. I'm sure
yeah,
people can, I'm sure,
professionally, we're not
yeah.
actors. We don't do shows these days as
Even
realtors.
though,
We
hold
have to
on,
do
even
everything.
though if Netflix is looking for a show in Ottawa, please reach out. We are free and we would like to do an episode. I would love to be on Toronto and yeah, that's open. Don't
Yes,
be shy on that.
yes. Oh, I love that. I love you put that in there. Yeah, there you go. So, you know what? It's always so much fun talking about this, talking about real estate. Obviously, it's a passion of ours. I know it's a passion of a lot of people that are not in real estate. I also want to say to some of you guys, maybe, I don't know, we're getting a lot of applications to join our team. Um, as a real estate agent, you have to be licensed. You have to be a licensed real estate professional to join us as a real estate agent. How do you do that? You go through Humber College. The course in Ontario takes anywhere between 6 months to 2 years. It's done online, but ultimately you have to have your license in order to be considered. And, we really appreciate you guys, your support. You have friends or family that want to know anything about real estate, want to get into real estate, reach out. Amir's here, I'm here. The whole team's here to help you, be able to make the right decision for you and your family. So
Yeah.
with that, it is yet another live session that we did. And thank you so much, Amir, for coming on here.
Thank
We
you for
appreciate
having me. And yeah, don't forget, just because you're licensed doesn't mean that you go all out. You got to get some, bumps and ups and downs and accidents. It's all learning process. And if you love what you're doing, nothing's going to stop you. So keep that chin up, keep that positivity. And until next time live, where we may get a few questions. And yeah, I'll look forward to that. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys later on.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Next time, bring on your questions. And if you're watching this after times, definitely send your after live. Definitely bring in your questions. Just submit it through our DMs and we'll be sure to bring it on to the next live. Thank you again. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye for now.